I've been through a couple lifetimes today. It's been very, very rough, and it's been very, very good and very traumatic. It's been a lot of mixed extremes. I did something normal today, and that was I worked out with my friend. We did a 5x5, which consisted of squats, deadlifts, and overhead press. And since I have very much experience in getting the form down and doing it correctly, my muscle memory was all there. And the only issue was my elbow was a little bit painful. Otherwise, it was good. The Reiki session was, I'm not even going to get into that, but what I will say is that as far as interacting with the other people, and moving toward a daily life that's focused on doing things you care about, or even just achieving goals, if you're not doing the work, if you let yourself slip, you can't do any of it. It's impossible. Like, if I let myself slip, the lessons are becoming harsher and harsher as I go on. If I go back into old patterns, old behaviors, and expect that the blowback is going to be the same as last time, continually I'm given a larger blowback in relation to the thing. And then when that happens, inevitably I return to old coping mechanisms, which involve isolating, retreating into my void space, retreating into absolute non-reaction. And the lessons are getting harsher. And as I communicate with people who are out there dealing with their own struggles in relation to the collective chaos of the society, everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody that's on the path of self-work, the path of giving a shit about what's going on, the path of not being passive, the path of not numbing yourself into apathy. It's a struggle. And it's almost as easy as just saying, I'm not going to engage in these behaviors that sink me back down again. It's as simple as that, and it's also not that simple. It's a squirrely thing to try and grab and corral and maintain some sort of continuity. Especially if you're doing something that doesn't have you within a set structure that has very set expectations, and you simply fit yourself within that. When you are having a large degree of wiggle room within your daily life, and then add on top of that you're a creative person and you don't like routines, add a complex mind on top of that, and you get some sort of ordered chaos that happens. All the while still being refined in the fires of existence. That's happening regardless. Sometimes the more you try to get it on an even track, the more it flies off in the other direction. Well, it's time for another lesson. Well, that wasn't planned, you know? It's always been the hardest for me to accept help from other people with regards to what I'm doing. It's always been the hardest thing. It's the family motto. Suffer in silence. And I'm very good at it. You can always tell when I'm struggling with my own stuff when I make videos that are sarcastic, you know, bitingly, caustically sarcastic. That generally is a tell that I'm struggling with something. And it's when I'm doing that, it's the war game, you know, the inner battle. something that was revealed in my Reiki session today was that with regards to numbing yourself out from emotions, which I've been on that track for a while, and other people in the family do the same thing. We're generally not displaying emotion on the sleeve, and we're guarding them, and holding the thing together and all this stuff. And at the same time, there's like an avalanche, and you build up the emotional store somehow, and the longer you wait to release that floodgate, the harder it is to release the floodgate. And something I realized was that even if I ask, if I request, I'd like to have the emotions back, please. Well, I'm playing the same game as somebody being emotionally manipulative and expecting me to produce an emotion that they expect from a normal human being in response to something they said or did, which I can't do as well. And then on the flip side, saying I'm going to be absolutely silent and still and be in the neutral present and allow the chaos to flood around me in a pretense of enticing the emotion to come in some sort of reverse psychology. That doesn't work either. So the realization was that when I get emotions, and I don't get them often, strong emotions, but I do, and I cry sometimes, and I don't ever do it in front of people, very, very rarely. That's part of the thing, But when I do, it's always amazing, and you are literally held in the womb of the emotion, and all of the mind stuff that normally silently lords over, that stuff doesn't exist in the waves. Emotions are waves. They pulse through your body. And I cannot command them. That was my realization. I can't command them to come, and I can't command them to stay away. Like, I have zero control over whether an emotion gets produced or not. The only control I have is if an emotion is genuinely producing itself. If I don't wish to show it, I can mask it. Like if I have a genuine feeling of sadness and I don't want to cry in front of somebody, well, I can mask it. And I'm sure that a long habit of doing that would make that emotion less likely to come up naturally. And you end up being some sort of a stoic. And, if you think about it, yes, displaying emotion is either encouraged or discouraged depending on social norms, but really, when somebody shows genuine emotion, what it does is it people are drawn to that because they know that's the most genuine display a person can do. They know that person has no control over that, and that's that person literally like being childlike and uninhibited because they have no control over it. And it's showing something very direct and genuine about that person, and you can react genuinely to that, and then you share in that wave of emotion with them. But it's so powerful. It's been so manipulated. It's been so suppressed, not only in me, in my family, in the surrounding family, in the people, that it's become a way, that has become a norm, is not showing emotion, not feeling emotion, shutting them down. And it's a thing, it's a big thing. But I feel like acknowledging that I literally am powerless over to command the emotion to come, or even if I feel it welling up and it wants to come, I'm also powerless to stop my blocking mechanism, which will block it and cut it off at the gate. Aside from applying techniques over time that would allow me to open up, or something, nothing I can do about it. The thing I seem to have control over is the mental stuff. I have gotten the quiet mind, unless I want it to or allow it to, then I can want it to and allow it to, and it will do it. Otherwise it won't. For the most part. That's not entirely the way it is, but that's the way it is. For the most part. So that's just something I'm working through, feeling out. And this idea of the heart being attacked, the feeling center, has been common throughout the plague of darkness that has been on the earth people for a long time. So it's not unusual that I'm experiencing that as well, because it's the same thing. I'm in it, it's in me. So what do you guys and girls, how do you, I want to hear the perspective of people who don't have that issue of blocking emotions, that issue of being a stoic in all situations as much as possible, not wearing your heart on your sleeve, not crying in public, not crying if you're a guy, not just busting out and screaming at somebody. Those of you that do, or that are the type of emotional person that simply you must laugh all the time, you must cry all the time, you must be riding this wave, How is that for you? Does that feel normal or does it feel like a crazy roller coaster that you have no control over? And I would also like to hear from the stoics out there, the ones who have everything under lock and key, like myself. Although I don't necessarily have the lock or the key. Some part of my being has it, but I would like to hear people's thoughts on emotions and how society has really, really clamped down, or it seems like it. You don't see people displaying emotions. You don't see people screaming and yelling at each other. You don't see people crying in the street. You don't see a lot of laughing. You see more laughing. Laughing, I would say, is more acceptable as far as release, public release of emotion. But the other ones, it's like there's been a big old clamp on it. And it's very curious to me and very personal to me. So if you made it this far and you reached my questions, then please leave your comments. It's something I'm working through, and it would help me, and maybe you can get something out of it too. Who knows? I'm headed home. Hope everybody's doing well as you can given your own personal circumstances, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.